In a world far beyond the reach of time, where the sky painted itself in hues of lavender and silver as the day softly folded into night, there existed a secluded forest known as the Whispering Woods. This forest was unlike any other. Its trees were ancient, with trunks as wide as small cottages and leaves that shimmered like the finest silk in the soft moonlight. The Whispering Woods was a place of tranquility, where the air was always filled with the soothing murmur of the trees, as though they were sharing ancient secrets with those who dared to listen. In the heart of this forest stood a modest wooden cottage, nestled between two towering oak trees. This was the home of Elara, a wise woman known throughout the land for her ability to communicate with the forest. Elara had lived in the Whispering Woods for as long as she could remember, her days filled with the gentle rustling of leaves and the melodic calls of the night creatures. Every evening, as the last rays of sunlight kissed the treetops, Elara would prepare a pot of her special tea, made from the delicate leaves of the silverleaf plant, which only grew in the deepest parts of the forest. This tea was known to bring the most restful sleep, and those who sipped it often found themselves dreaming of the most wondrous places. One evening, as Elara sat by the fire with her steaming cup of tea, she heard a soft knock on her door. It was rare for anyone to visit her, especially at this hour, so she rose slowly and opened the door to find a weary traveler standing before her. His clothes were tattered, and his eyes heavy with exhaustion, but there was a kindness in his expression that made Elara smile. "Welcome, traveler," she said warmly, stepping aside to let him in. "You look like you could use some rest." The traveler nodded gratefully and entered the cozy cottage. As he sat by the fire, Elara handed him a cup of her special tea. The traveler sipped it slowly, feeling the warmth spread through his body, easing the tension from his muscles. "Thank you," he whispered. "I have been wandering for days, lost and searching for a place where I can rest." Elara nodded, understanding the weariness in his voice. "You are safe here," she assured him. "The forest will watch over you tonight. Tell me, what brings you to these woods?" The traveler sighed, staring into the flickering flames. "I am searching for something," he began, "though I do not know exactly what it is. I have traveled through countless lands, climbed the highest mountains, and crossed the deepest rivers, yet I have not found what I seek." Elara listened carefully, her eyes soft with understanding. "Sometimes," she said gently, "what we seek is not something we can find in the world outside, but rather within ourselves. The forest has a way of revealing what lies hidden in our hearts." The traveler pondered her words, feeling a strange sense of peace begin to wash over him. Elara stood and walked to the small bookshelf in the corner of the room. She pulled out an old, worn book and handed it to the traveler. "This is the Book of Dreams," she explained. "It contains stories from those who have passed through the Whispering Woods before you. Perhaps you will find some guidance within its pages." The traveler accepted the book with a nod of gratitude and settled into a comfortable chair by the fire. As he began to read, the words seemed to weave a spell around him, drawing him deeper into the story. The first tale was of a young woman who had come to the forest in search of her true purpose. She had spent years trying to fit into the expectations of others, never feeling truly at peace. But in the quiet of the forest, she discovered her own voice and realized that her purpose was not to please others, but to follow her own path. The second story was of an old man who had lost his way in life after the death of his beloved wife. He wandered into the Whispering Woods, his heart heavy with grief. But as he spent time among the trees, he began to hear the whispers of his wife's voice in the rustling leaves, reminding him that love never truly dies, and that she would always be with him in spirit. As the traveler read on, he felt his own heart begin to lighten. The words seemed to soothe the deep ache within him, and soon his eyes grew heavy. Elara noticed his weariness and gently took the book from his hands, placing it back on the shelf. "Rest now," she whispered. "Let the forest cradle you in its embrace." The traveler nodded, his eyes already closing as he sank into the soft cushions of the chair. Elara placed a warm blanket over him and added another log to the fire, watching as the flames danced in the hearth. She knew that the traveler would find what he sought, but it would not be in the faraway lands he had visited. It would be in the quiet moments of stillness, when the heart speaks and the mind is at peace. As the night deepened, the forest outside seemed to grow even more serene. The trees whispered softly, their leaves swaying in a gentle breeze, carrying the traveler into a deep, restful sleep. And in his dreams, he found himself walking through the whispering woods, where the path was clear and the way forward was illuminated by the soft glow of the moon. In that moment, the traveler understood that the answers he sought had been within him all along. The forest had merely helped him to see it. And so, with a heart full of peace and a mind at rest, the traveler slept soundly, knowing that when he awoke, he would be ready to continue his journey, wherever it might lead. The fire crackled softly as Elara sat back in her chair, sipping the last of her tea. She knew that the traveler would not be the last to find his way to the whispering woods, and she would be here, as she always had been, ready to offer comfort and guidance to those who sought it. The night passed in quiet tranquility, and as the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees, the forest whispered a final goodnight, knowing that its gentle embrace had brought peace to another weary soul. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it inspired or motivated you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Wisdom Waves and Tales for more uplifting stories and soothing bedtime tales.